Manchester United travel to the Etihad Stadium this Sunday to take part in another Manchester derby, a game which, of course, has got the juices flowing. It's a big weekend of derbies, as we know. Big debate around which derby in England is the biggest, etc., etc., etc. So I would like to know your thoughts on that. Which derby, in your opinion, is the biggest? Is it the Merseyside, Manchester, North London? I'll say they're the biggest three. I'd say they're the biggest three. Are there any other clashes that you think are bigger than those games in the Premier League? Leave your comments below. And it comes at an interesting time for Man United because 4 wins on the bounce in the Premier League is great, but this is a massive test. Our first game away from home against a fellow top 6 opponent, but not just any top 6 opponent, the defending champions, a team that on the offensive side of things have been absolutely purring. Haaland is scoring goals at a rate never, ever seen before in the English Premier League. And it makes it a delicious fixture for the neutral, but a nervous one for Man United fans. And we'll get on to City a bit later as to whether or not fans think they are nervous or not. Before we go any further, though, please download the One Football app. Also, scan the QR code on the screen. You can see it right there, that beautiful looking round QR code to get it downloaded. The best one-stop shop for football on planet Earth. Go and get that done right now, my people, before you go any further. When I look at Man United, though, I spoke about this a few days ago and I stand by it. There are some problems at the club. I was kind of shot down by a few people for suggesting that Rashford and Martial could be out. Big report from the Times this afternoon that they are losing their race to be fit in time. So, of course, I'm recording this before the Ten Hag press conference tomorrow. Maybe one or two of them gets to train in the next day or so. But it does beg the question, are they actually ready to play? Even if they return to training tomorrow, that would be 2 weeks or so without training for Rashford and 3 or 4 weeks without training for Anthony Martial. Martial, for me, no way he's going to be back if he's not training yet. And Rashford, very, very unlikely indeed. And that leaves Manchester United with a Glazer-shaped problem. That is that Cristiano Ronaldo is going to have to start this football match. And for me, I believe Ronaldo starting is going to cost Manchester United. I believe Ronaldo starting is going to stop us from being able to play the way we want to. And that isn't going to be a game of high press, by the way. They'll be pressing in spurts, but it won't be a game of continual high press. It will be a game of sitting back, being resolute, and trying to spring on the counter attack. The problem that Man United are going to face without having Rashford in that team, without having Martial within that side, is where does that explosive speed come from? Where is that speed on the counter? In the victories against Arsenal and Liverpool, respectively, Rashford on the counter, especially in the second half of those games, was absolutely key and influential. There is going to be skill and technique with Anthony and more so Jadon Sancho having his best season for Man United so far on either of the flanks. But what happens in those central positions? Many are going to call and say that we have to come into a position where Ronaldo starts the game. But what other options are there? Does an academy player, does a striker from the academy get an opportunity? Could you play Bruno Fernandes in a false nine, bring Casemiro into the middle and move Christian Eriksen a little bit further forward? Well, we saw a false nine in the opening part of the season against Brighton, and Manchester United fell short in that match. So it remains to be seen. Could you play Jadon Sancho more central with Alanga out on that left-hand side for more pace? Has he ever played central before in a striker role? Absolutely not. You are moving into the realms of square pegs into round holes. So it very much looks like Cristiano Ronaldo will start this game away at the Etihad. But does he have the legs? Does he have the ability, the physicality now at 37 years of age to deliver? In the handful of Man United games he's had so far this season and in the previous 2 internationals for Portugal, he looks well past his best. I'm not suggesting he isn't trying. I'm not suggesting he doesn't want to perform for whatever team he's playing for, whether it be Portugal or Manchester United. But wanting and trying and being able to are very different things indeed. I think these injuries to our players are going to cause major, major problems. But as we said a few days ago when we spoke about this, when, it was shot down again, I'm not too sure why, but this is the Glazer-shaped hole. The lack of investment in the summer in a striker and poor decisions over the past 3 to 4 years in terms of recruitment in those striking positions and where our money has been spent, the renewals of particular people's contracts have left us in this precarious position. And we have a couple of injuries now, and we are threadbare, which is one of the reasons why, although after 4 games I'm happy, although I still think Ten Hag is a good enough manager to help get Man United back to where we want to be, there is a long way to go until we can look at United and say, we are a team on the up and up. We're a team that's returning back to the peak of our powers. And some people have allowed that 4-game giddy spell to, in my opinion, really get to their head a little bit too much. When you look at Manchester City, of course, everybody's eyes are on Erling Haaland, the best young striker that Europe has seen since the original R9. Nobody at his age has scored this many goals across the biggest competitions in Europe, the Premier League, the Bundesliga, the Champions League. The rate of goals per game right now is above and beyond anything we have seen in the last 30 years in European football. If he continues scoring like this, he breaks Messi's single season goal scoring ratio. That's how good he's been. Will he break those records? Nobody knows right now, but we know that he is absolutely potent. If he gets 2 to 3 clear chances against Manchester United, he is scoring. Over a 40% conversion rate so far this year. There is just no way. There is just no way, shape or form that he's not scoring if he is afforded the chances. It's going to happen. You then have the likes of Bernardo Silva, KDB, Gundogan, Phil Foden, that have all been in excellent form this year. Man United are going to have to remain so compact, so disciplined, and work so hard, harder than we've worked in any other game this season, to try and nullify and stop this Manchester City team. But there is some hope for Man United, and that is that Man City have allowed a number of opportunities to go against them this year. Teams have been able to open them up, especially on that counter-attack. The only problem in that is that Man United are going to lack a level of pace. They're going to lack a large amount of pace in this game, comparatively to, say, Newcastle. Newcastle that had Man City absolutely on the ropes because of their speed in the transition, their speed on that counter. And maybe that's why Man United need to look at maybe dropping Anthony and playing young Elanga, who doesn't have the technical ability, but has that pace to get in behind. That is a decision that, of course, Erik ten Hag has got to make. But City are dangerous. City are potent. City are a team that everybody has already crowned as champions this year. They're at the Etihad, which has been a weird place for Man United in recent years. United have actually won, I think, 3 of their last 4 visits to the Etihad. They've got a decent league record against them when we've played pragmatically, when we've defended resolutely, when we've been able to speed into that counter-attack early on in the game. So Man United do need to, of course, they need to score to win the game. That's a really stupid thing to say, but they need to score early. They need to be able to score early and then defend resolutely. It's going to be a tough game. For me, Casemiro's got to come into this side. I'm still umming and ahhing as to whether or not I think Ronaldo should start. I think he will. I think he will give him the nod. I think he really, really will. We know the rest of the protagonists. The defense will stay the same. Dalot, Varane, Lisandro Martinez, and Malacia. Man City's team is always a little bit harder to pick, but with John Stones picking up that injury, you're looking at maybe Diaz and Ake that maybe come into that defense. We know that Walker and Cancelo are going to be dominating the wide areas as fullbacks, and we know the front six, is in the midfield, and the front six is the wrong way of putting it. The midfield and the front 3 options. We know who the next 6 players are pretty much going to be: KDB, Rodri, Gundogan, Silva, Foden, Haaland. Maybe Jack Grealish gets an opportunity. Let's see if a kind of spanner is thrown in the works there. But it's going to be an epic game no matter what. Man United are going to look to add to this unbeaten run in the Premier League. And who knows, a win against Man City could send huge levels of confidence going through the Man United squad. Equally, a big win for Man City could just be that kind of little nod to everybody that's kind of said, so far City haven't played too many dangerous teams, too many top sides. Let's not get too carried away with Haaland's form just yet. Maybe Spurs, maybe Arsenal can keep up with them. So I think there's a few questions that need to be answered by both teams. But I do want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this game. But for me, my opinion has changed. I was holding this back because I like to hold back to give my opinions on these shows. I was going to predict a Manchester United win. And I haven't predicted a Man United win in a long time. And I was going to do that until I saw the news that both Martial and Rashford are likely not to play. I think without their speed in the transition and counter, I don't believe Man United possess enough quality overall to beat Manchester City now. That we can't do it without those two players. I don't think we can't go toe to toe with City. We can't try and outplay them. We have to try and use speed to get in behind when they attack and we transition with the ball. And I don't think with Sancho and Anthony and Ronaldo, we're going to have the ability to do that. So pains me to say I'm going to go with a win for Man City. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Manchester City in this game. Haaland probably likely to score another goal as well. And it's frustrating, but let me throw this out there. If Man United are able to get Rashford into this side, if Man United are able to get him fit and back playing, if this is just gamesmanship, a bit of mind games to make Man City think he won't be around and Rashford starts, I'm going with a Man United win. I believe with City's frailties at the back this year, I believe this Man United team, with the confidence that we're showing, have the ability to beat them. But it needs Rashford. It needs a Martial. It needs some speed on that counter attack. Ball being fed into him by the Brunos, by the Sanchos, by the Antonys, and maybe they can get the 3 points. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Make sure you're smashing the like button, subscribing to the Football Terrace, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Goodbye.